Well, good evening, Cedar Falls. Welcome to our regular City Council meeting for Monday, September 18th, 2023. I'll now call this meeting to order with I don't have my gavel. With a roll call from Madam Clerk.
Schultz.
Here.
DeBoer.
Here.
Cruz.
Here.
Harding.
Here.
Canfield.
Here.
Sires.
Here.
Dunn.
Here.
All members present, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, now it's official. If you would please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, if willing and able. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, especially fitting on this National Constitution Week. So our first item is approval of minutes. Is there a motion to approve the regular meeting of September?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any council discussion? Any from the public? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that does pass. Madam Clerk, do we have any agenda revisions tonight?
I have no agenda revisions, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And that takes us then over to our special presentations. I actually have two tonight. The first is on the agenda. The second is an addition. This proclamation is for Women in Politics Day. So we have Miss Josie Hove, Miss Blackhawk Valley? Yes. So please come forward. She asked for the proclamation. Come meet you. So we'll be on this. All right. I'm left-handed, so I got to be over here. Get all messed up. Okay, thank you. So this proclamation reads, whereas underrepresentation of women in the political arena is an ongoing global concern, including in the United States, and whereas women have made great strides at the federal, state, and local level during the past century to claim the right of elected public service, making tremendous difference in their communities, state, and nation. And whereas Victoria Woodhull, born on September 23, 1838, achieved lasting fame as the first woman to run for president in 1872, despite being able to vote in the election herself, and was voted into the Women's Hall of Fame in 2001. And whereas it is fitting that the City of Cedar Falls recognize and celebrate women in the political spotlight, just as we recognize and celebrate the women working tirelessly behind the scenes in political advocacy, awareness, and education. Now, therefore, I, Robert M. Green, Mayor of the City of Cedar Falls, do hereby proclaim September 23, 2023 as Women in Politics Day throughout the city. And I encourage residents to recognize and celebrate the women among us who've taken an active role in the political decision-making process. And I further encourage women of all ages to take an active interest in political science through study and participation in order to successfully advocate for topics of personal passion and concern. Signed this 12th day of September, 2023, Mayor Robert M. Green. So thank you. This proclamation is yours. You get a picture here. Thank you. Ms. I understand you have a few words for us.
I want to say thank you very much, Mayor Green and Council. Give a shout out to our lovely women serving on the council here. You guys are really the reason we want to celebrate and really encourage women to, take their place in politics and stand up for the things they believe in. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. And I believe tonight we have representatives from Earth Science Week. So, yes, sir. So you want to come on this side? Well, it's good to see you every year for this event. So this wasn't on the proclamation calendar because I had thought I would do it at the next council meeting, missing that you have an event on October 1st. So we really needed to get this advertised this week. And thank you very much for your consideration on that. So the proclamation reads, whereas the earth sciences are fundamental to understanding how to manage our natural resources, and whereas the earth sciences provide insight into the processes which continue to shape the landscape around us, and whereas the earth sciences help us to investigate natural phenomena that impact our society, and whereas the earth sciences provide us with the opportunity to use technology to explore our environment to solve critical issues, and whereas the earth sciences offer insight into understanding the past, living responsibly in the present, and planning for the future. And whereas the earth sciences open windows to explore our world and into the far reaches of space. Now, therefore, I, Robert M. Green, Mayor of the City of Cedar Falls, do hereby proclaim the week of October 1st through 7th, 2023, as Earth Sciences Week throughout the city. And I encourage all citizens to participate in activities to learn about our remarkable spaceship Earth, and particularly to spend Saturday at the Quarry from 1 to 4 p.m. on Sunday, October 1st, at 4618 East Donald Road for educational presentations and hands-on activities in the field of earth science. Signed this 18th day of September 2023, Robert M. Green, Mayor. So congratulations, this proclamation is yours.
Thank you.
And if you wouldn't mind giving an introduction, and I know you have a short, some information on radon as well you'd like to present.
We're going to. Thank you very much, Mayor and City Council and those present and those observing and watching. The earth sciences provide the opportunity for us to explore and understand the world we live in. And exploring and understanding the world we live in helps us to better plan for the future, because we deal with some very demanding issues, and I think you're very much aware of them, whether you want to talk about climate change or whether you want to talk about drought or whether you're interested in the resources that we have. All of those things fall into the purview of the earth sciences. And with me tonight is Jake Campbell, who is from the Earth and Environmental Sciences at the University of Northern Iowa. So I'll let Jake come up here and give you an example of how important the earth sciences are. Jake?
Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. A project I worked on throughout the course of last winter and into this year still is radon levels in basements and homes in Cedar Falls. I worked closely with Professor Hines at the university and in the department. If you don't know, radon is odorless, colorless, and so you can't see it. It's radioactive, so it's capable of causing lung cancer and things. I gave a handout to council members with different information about radon and its dangers and effects on people. One thing I wanted to point out was that in my home, just south of campus, the radon levels were up to about 9, which is equivalent to 16 cigarettes per day or 400 chest x-rays per year, which is not great on the human body. But yeah, this is a project and a topic that is in everyone's lives, whether we know it or not, and it's pretty dangerous. So yeah, thank you.
And please mark October the 1st from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Morgan Quarry. We have a vast array of presenters. If you're interested, for an example, the IDOT geology is going to be there to talk about highways. We had a special presentation from Dr. Josh Seabree, who is a chemistry professor at the University of Northern Iowa, has an interest in both geology and chemistry, who's been doing some exploration work for himself and for the U.S. government in the Wind Cave, and he's going to be presenting that information about how that's formed and all the impacts. So lots of fun activities to do. Thank you again, Mayor and City Council. We appreciate it very much.
So with that, that takes us over to public forum, where speakers will have one opportunity to speak for up to 5 minutes on topics relevant to city business. Does anyone wish to speak in public forum tonight? Yes, so please come forward, sir. We just need name and city. We don't need an actual address, but just your city of residence.
My name's John Mershon, 12th and Clay Streets. Good evening. Thank you, Mayor Green, City Council members, for taking the time to hear my concerns tonight. My name is John Mershon, like I stated. The safety concern I'd like to address is in regards to the inability to enforce the speed limit on West 12th Street and the inability to have a safe crosswalk for the citizens of Cedar Falls, including pedestrians, bikers, and motor vehicles. This has been an ongoing situation for as long as I have been able to recall, which goes back to the late 80s and early 90s. My family would drive over to visit my grandparents on College Street. At least back then, the condition of the road was better and the drainage along the roads used to have swales. And this would create an actual speed hump where if you drove over 20 miles per hour, you would bottom out. The area is seeing high usage of heavy trucks, semis, construction, machinery all day, every day of the week, and has continued to degrade the road's conditions throughout this area. I know there are code limits of the allowed tonnage for these types of vehicles and the usage allowed on these secondary roads, including West 12th Street. Evidently, it has only appeared to have increased over the last 15 years, and when there are no Main Street projects going on, it is still an issue. Now, with the construction of the new Main Street Corridor project, and along with all the other construction projects around town, the contractor's favorite route appears to be Clay Street. Peters Construction, Benton's concrete trucks are continuously using this route, and it is being taken advantage of even more now. Very limited enforcement of these codes seem to be upheld, if at all. And I know these concerns have been brought up to the City of Cedar Falls government, CFU Utilities, and the police department for at least the last 30 years. The main reason I am here tonight is because 2 weeks ago, my wife came very close to being hit by a truck when she was helping 2 school children cross the street on their way to school at the 12th Street crosswalk. This is after the city had installed 2 signs for the pedestrian crosswalk, after we spoke to the city engineer, Matthew Tolan, and the Public Works Department, Chase Schrage, who both stated that they have never heard of this being an issue for the 10 years he has worked for the city. We brought this issue up to the city engineers due to the fact we have witnessed 3 kids on separate occasions almost get hit since school has started. A car accident on August 28th and countless other close accidents along with high amounts of speeding vehicles. We are also very concerned with the new roundabout being installed since the Main Street Corridor report conducted in 2017 by Snyder and Associates states that this will increase the flow of traffic in the area. As you can see from the emails regarding this issue, the mayor and all council members have been included on this thread. We initially came to the city clerk's office to acquire 10 years of accident reports for this intersection of 12th and Clay, including a 1-block radius of the location. We were denied and told to go to the police station. I've been able to personally research this intersection and notice it has one of the worst in the city. From a free website, icat.iowadot.gov, discussing potential speed humps with Matthew and Chase, it appears the city is unable to install speed humps, which is confusing to me since they are installed on West 4th Street. After Chase, the city Public Works Director, told us we would not have to present this situation to the City Council, my wife and pedestrians have been almost killed. Only 2 signs have been installed since then, and any future studies of this area could not be conducted until the completion of Main Street, which is years away, per Chase Schrage. So this issue needs to be addressed before a death occurs and/or more property and asset damages happen. In conclusion of my research and discussion with the city engineers and city manager, the lowest cost option and the safest possible solution is to install a 4-way stop. Additional signage and increased demarcation needs to be addressed. Thank you for your assistance in getting this taken care of right away. Again, I appreciate the mayor and council taking the time to hear my concerns, and personally want to thank the mayor for providing us citizens free of charge of the accident report since the city clerk said they were going to charge us, which we were properly denied by her, and for acknowledging there is an issue in this area. Unfortunately, a separate committee will only prolong the protection that is needed. I also want to thank Councilmember Sires for coming out this last Saturday and personally addressing this situation, which he almost saw an accident happen right in front of us. This was a Saturday at 4 in the afternoon. And we hope we can come to agreement tonight that a 4-way stop is necessary. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. As part of that, you can have a seat, that's fine. Just addressing everyone. So with that request, having a desire for traffic accident reports, typically if somebody wants that and it's for their own information as a citizen, whatever research they're doing for, it does make sense. It's appropriate that that person puts in a public information request. And if there's a significant amount of time involved, then there will be a charge for that. And that's common throughout the state. In this case, because this is something that's of interest of many residents, and I did see the petition that was going forward, then what that means is, please don't shout back. Thank you. So what that means is, this is more of a neighborhood issue. It's not just one or two people. So that's why I said, okay, I definitely want, with the interest that's being generated in the neighborhood, this should be addressed at the mayor's level and to gather the information. I'm going to provide the information to the Public Works Committee. So that's, I'm looking at the meeting on October 2nd, having a Public Works discussion about that. I would certainly invite public to attend, to hear a presentation. The information that's provided is going to be to the council, but I'll make that information also available to the public through our packeting process. So you'll have access to the same information that they have, and we'll be as thorough as we can be in order to have the council decide if there's some changes that are needed temporarily to weigh in, and it's really going to be a council decision. There's what the code says, just like with the North Cedar four-way stop signs we came up with. There's what the staff says, there's what the code requires, but at the end of the day, the council runs the government. So it's going to be your call on what happens next with that corridor. So I want to make sure you have the information you need to make a good decision short term, and then also knowing that that roundabout is going to take out the 12th Street corridor for next year. Probably we're not looking at as much traffic at that point, particularly with the school being gone as well. But looking at years ahead, what does the data show us? So this will be an initial look at that, and you can make a decision on short-term changes if you like as well.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I was there for a couple hours, talked with the neighbors. It's a little more urgent than that. I don't know how tragic it would be. I know it'd be terribly tragic if during the time we waited that somebody got hit there, because the kids will watch and then they'll run for it.
Okay. Then I would ask you to refer to a special meeting.
We will, yes.
At the end of the meeting.
Yes, thank you.
Please do that, and then the council can decide if they want to do that special.
Yes,
or regular.
thank you.
Certainly. Other speakers for public comment? Yes. Well, we'll do, welcome back, Reverend. I hope you're feeling better.
Good evening.
Yes, sir.
I'm Larry Stummy. I'm pastor of St. Paul Lutheran Church on the corner of Pleasant and Willow Lane here in Cedar Falls. For the past couple months, my cohort and friend, Dr. Michael Blackwell, and I have come before you. Why are we here again? We're simply here to urge and even maybe demand of you as elected government officials with the charge of helping our basic community and as citizens to help us and to help the city of Waterloo in dealing with some very, very serious and important problems. In 2018, government statistics were compiled in the country's 383 urban areas, and it revealed that the Waterloo-Cedar Falls area was the worst place for blacks to live in the United States. Indications of this were the disparity between whites and blacks in housing and in employment and wealth and percentage of incarceration, which Waterloo is and has always been one of the worst in the state. And now, 5 years later, that shocking news, we are alarmed because the response has been so slow, if at all. On May 15th, Dr. Blackwell and myself started our regular meeting with the council. And we were dealing with these problems. And what I brought together some pictures I'd like to show you that we presented the council an example of what we were talking about.
I'll allow the pictures.
Pardon?
I'll allow the pictures.
I'm sorry, I didn't ask you. The picture is One is an example of dilapidated buildings. This building has been that way for probably 20 years, and nothing has been done. We have asked, and when we presented on May 15th, they said they were going to do something, but nothing has
Is
been
this in
done.
Cedar Falls or Waterloo?
Pardon?
Is this in Cedar Falls or Waterloo? Okay. So
I know.
I'd
I
ask
know.
you please keep your comments
I'm
tied to
just
Cedar
asking,
Falls.
and the
I
reason.
don't want to bash Waterloo here.
The reason we're presenting the picture of the fire and these other houses are the conditions that we've heard so often that couldn't happen in Cedar Falls. Why couldn't this happen in Cedar Falls? Because somehow you have the expertise through your legal sources and through your working with the community that these things don't happen. In Cedar Falls, we have over 70 homes that are dilapidated and are boarded up and in the area, and we need help. You were part of the community, and you were part of this finding that Waterloo Cedar Falls was the worst place to live, and we're asking for your help and your cooperation and your expertise for the people to do this. And later this year, in the fall of this year, we're going to be having a survey, and we're getting the help of you and I on this survey. We're going to have a survey of the community people. What has been the results of this? They've had to live next to this property. Their property values have gone down. Their kids have been exposed to open doors, and we're trying to find out. There's a 23-acre factory, abandoned factory, that's emitting poison, and we're going to find out what's the result. And anything you can do to help us, we will appreciate, because we think you are an integral part of the Waterloo Cedar Falls area. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Summy. Glad to see you back in the chamber, sir. Next speaker for public comment or public forum. Good evening. Just name and city for the record, please, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Donna Bash, and I'm a citizen of Cedar Falls. And good evening, Mayor Green and City Council. I'm here to bring the attention to the council and the mayor this evening regarding the safety of ice skaters on the rinks in Gateway Park. And I'm an ice skater, and I've been an ice skater probably since my elementary school days. And I'm bringing it forth tonight because I was working with the city on it, city staff, and I found out that there could be a cost prohibitive about making an extra rink. And so just to let you know, the safety concern that I have is then when an ice skater like myself goes on the rink with hockey players, we get along great off the ice, but when it comes to being on the ice together, I ask them politely, well, can you please separate the ice? And they will graciously share the ice with us. But the thing is with the pucks, and the pucks fly, and if you watch hockey games and that, nobody has control of the pucks, and people get excited to go after the puck. And that's where I wanted to bring the attention to the council about the safety, and I also did to the Cedar Falls appropriate people. So right now I'm asking if some budgetary amounts can be made to make an extra rink for the ice skaters. And since I've been ice skating for many years, my whole life, is that it's really easy to take some kind of pipe work from any water source. So you don't need anything special, like I understand right now the city of Cedar Falls uses special equipment. You could just take a hose to the fire hydrant and then have somebody strong enough to hold it and then let the ice go on grass. And that's what I'm used to skating on, is just having rinks done on grass or even soccer fields. And they're typically, what I'm used to seeing is 2 rinks on different schools. So it's not necessarily on a hard surface like concrete like it is in Gateway Park. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention because I know budget is very important with the city. So just that you're aware, and maybe just to help push it forward to other people in the city to have a safe winter coming up.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So do I
welcome.
understand right, you're looking for a second rink?
Yes, a second rink that would be dedicated to either hockey players or somehow separate us. So then, like, the hockey players will have their own rink and use it at their own leisure, and then have another rink for the figure skater at their own leisure. So then everybody knows, is on the same page with safety, that, okay, this is our rink to use at whatever time, like throughout the whole day, and then have ice skaters. So just an appropriate
Okay.
amount.
All right, thank you. So
Okay, you're welcome.
It
Thank
could be
you.
that funding, if it's a significant funding amount, it might be something that has to get programmed for next year, and it's something that certainly could be part of goal-setting session this November as council's looking to prepare the budget for next year, and to see what kind of accommodations might be made in the meantime as well. So, thank you. Next speaker. A few remaining.
Excuse me, Mayor. Mr. Gaines, were you poised to say something?
Yeah, I think this year, ice skating rinks, just in general, may be a little bit of a challenge just because of the river project going on and the construction that's going to be in that area. So we may be looking for an alternative spot for at least this year for the winter, so.
Okay, thanks for catching that, Councilmember Schultz. Next speaker, yes, ma'am. Either or both. Probably, let's do one at a time. That way we don't, you get twice as much time on the dais than 5 minutes. Okay, yes, ma'am. Just name and city for the record, please.
Rachel Mershon, Cedar Falls. So I actually have a little bit of fear of public speaking, so
Okay.
I don't necessarily want to be here, but I am here because it is such a glaring issue that I believe this needs to be presented to you guys, even though we were told that we didn't need to come to the city council meeting. Anybody but Gil, because I know he also lives on the street. Can you guys tell me on 12th Street what the speed limit is? Any of the city?
Actually, please keep your comments directed to the chair.
To you guys?
Yeah.
I'm directing it to you. Can you guys tell me what the speed limit is? Do you guys know?
Depends on what part of 12th.
On 12th Street, what's the speed limit?
25. Maine to Hudson is her reference.
Yeah,
Name
I don't want to
Hudson.
have this time taken up with a big question.
I'm taking my time up right now, and I'm sharing.
Ma'am.
Rob, thank you so much for
Ma'am.
your email and addressing that it was an
Ma'am, please.
issue. I'm just asking if any of these members know what the speed limit is.
And we have a certain amount of decorum here in the council chambers.
Yes, and that's
Please
why I'm-
address me as
Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, yes.
Mr. Mayor, can you tell me what the speed limit is, Mr. Mayor?
And downtown, it's 15, parts are 25, as far as I know.
25 miles per hour. Well, I grew up on 12th and Clay, and I've never seen a car go 25. And because of raising this issue, they did put a speed trailer, and I sat there for 15 minutes, and I didn't see one car. It's at the top of the hill. I didn't see one car go less than 35 miles per hour, and that's at the top of the hill, so think what happens at the bottom of the hill. So I just wanted, to know, because my mom actually had shouted at a woman who was driving very fast while we were outside near the road, and the woman, she said, slow down, it's 25, and the woman said, no, it's not. And the reason why, I know you thought it was argumentative, Mr. Mayor Rob Green, it was not, because the woman stopped in the travel portion of the road, and she shouted, it's not 25. So I'm thinking of this as Frankenstein, the city of Cedar Falls, meet your monster. You guys have created this because there's no signage saying that it's 25 miles per hour. So how are people supposed to know when it ends up going out to Highway 58? People think this is a highway. I've had a cat die. There's raccoons constantly where we have to call and have them picked up. That means people are going too fast. Now, I almost died. So this is very personal for me, and that's why I'm kind of shaking a little bit. Assisting after we asked, for some assistance, and they put up the 2 yellow signs that on all corners, the neighbors said they have not seen. So I actually got 92 signatures on change.org. Stating neighbors, just neighbors and people walking their kids to school, they call it the boogeyman. We've got a big issue there, you guys. Do you know what the kids say when they go to cross? And this breaks my heart because I'm the one out there standing with them. They say, run! And then they all just run to St. Pat's and to Lincoln. 12th and Clay directly goes to Lincoln. And when this was brought up, the city clerk actually said, well, if you are so afraid, then go down to Maine. 2 blocks out of the way. So children going to school and the elderly woman that I also assisted needs to go 2 blocks down and then 2 blocks back up. That's insanity. That's not the solution. I actually have a solution that I want, and I want it done immediately. And that's why I created that petition. And I'm not gonna sit here and waste you guys' time. I want a 4-way stop that flashes. I want rectangle lines, the ones that bright white rectangles where it indicates this is a crosswalk. Kids know it, they see it. Okay, this is the crosswalk. Because when I put my hands up like this, I got honked at and almost killed, swerved. And the reason this all became an issue was 4 weeks ago, I saw a kid on his bicycle, which actually there has been children hit. Nick Tabor's son was hit on 12th and Clay. This was in the past, maybe even more than 10 years ago. But again, I grew up in Cedar Falls on 12th Street, so I've seen it all. But it has become too much of an issue, and it's too scary at this point. It's shocking to me. And so I actually, even getting out of the driveway, we get honked and fingered, and I'm not going to swear, Mr. Mayor Rob Green, you thought I was addressing you harshly, but how would you feel getting out of your driveway and having people F you? And when you try to stop for children, swearing at you, saying, F you, get off of the road. People think this is a highway. It's a monster that...
Ms. Michonne, you're at time, but I'll give you one more minute.
No, thank you so much for listening. I do not want to see a child die. I hope you guys can go home and sleep because you get this 4-way stop, you get the flasher, and you get a little thing that said children crossing because it is on the street to Lincoln. It is a few blocks away, and St. Pat's. This is a huge issue. I'm trying to go through the right channel, and whatever you need us to do, we'll do. Let's get the speed humps. Let's keep these children alive. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. John. I appreciate how difficult it is to speak at the chain. Like it's an intimidating environment. So you did very well. Thank you. Other speakers, yes, ma'am. Just name and city for the record,
Hi.
please.
I'm Terry Viator, and I live in Cedar Falls on 12th and Clay.
Gave you Ms. Theater.
Yeah. The 12th Street has become a weaponized, terrifying street with semis, large city trucks, big SUVs exceeding the speed limit all day, every day. I have called about semis and informed in writing that they may continue to use the street even though it is against city code. When a neighborhood is densely populated and houses are within 10 feet of the road, this is a treacherous situation. My daughter, the love of my life, was almost killed helping 2 school children get across the street. It was terrifying. When I ran out and yelled at the large pickup who lost complete control of his vehicle, he yelled at me to get over it. Not one car has gone 25, which is the speed limit. I've been informed by the police that people are just in a hurry. My house has been hit. 2 of the other houses on the corner have been hit. Cars go so fast, there are so many accidents. Contrary to what I was informed by a letter on the stream, I will not walk 2 blocks down to Main Street to cross the street and walk 2 blocks back up to talk to my elderly neighbor who cannot get across the street. She cannot get across the street. Nobody will stop. Nobody will let them, even with the new signs. It seems to be an inconvenience for some reason to harness the concerns of the 91 citizens who signed this petition. We did have a city council person come out on Saturday and witnessed the very close call of an accident. A truck sped up and tried to hit my daughter outside when she yelled, "Slow down." We have a very elderly dog. He actually went up over the curb. He had no muffler. It's really loud, these big dually trucks with no mufflers, ramming up and down all night, all day. And I think he wanted to kill her. I won't even get into the noise pollution that's going on. It is beyond disgusting and unhealthy. A four-way stop has to be installed like yesterday. And mark my words, I've lived there a long time. Somebody is going to get killed on this corner. Somebody is going to get killed. I am not saying that lightly. The only solution is to put up a four-way stop on the second most dangerous intersection in the city of Cedar Falls. I see speed bumps when I drive out to the west side on 4th Street. I see signs everywhere, danger, children. But for some reason, on a very densely populated street, we can't get anybody to slow down or anything. So the only solution is to put up the four-way stop, and I don't understand what the hesitation is, and I think we're all gonna have to sleep with it if somebody gets killed, and I'm pretty sure it's getting real bad. Thank you.
Other speakers for public comment tonight, here in public forum. Reverend Blackwell, welcome back.
Thank you. I live in Cedar Falls. The State Data Center of Iowa has, since 1979, demonstrated the stark racial disparities in major areas of life. The achievement of the components of a decent quality of life for Black and Latinx folks are abysmal in the state. Certainly, we can all point to successes by some individuals and groups, but such accomplishments are rare, few and far between. The fact of the matter is, in each of the major categories that comprise a Better Life Index, Blacks and other underrepresented groups are in a miserable state of affairs. We can express ignorant opinions that claim these deficits are based on genetic traits and a lack of personal responsibility. The eugenic and unscientific ascriptions have repeatedly been proven to be wrong and completely unsubstantiated. For we know that race is merely a social construct that has allowed those in power to dismiss the egregious oppression of the dominant culture since the founding of this country. All of the legitimate research institutions in this country point to the historical and contemporary systemic racism that has been and continues to be pervasive in our society and culture. And these disparities exist specifically in the state of Iowa and within our Waterloo-Cedar Falls metropolitan area. So the question that rises to the top is, what are we going to do to address and redress these horrific disparities? In his inaugural address on January 20, 1968, President Kennedy listed a number of problems that would require immediate attention in the new frontier administration. Civil and human rights in this nation and around the globe were part of the enumeration of the issues. He stated, and I quote, "If a free society cannot help the many who are poor, it cannot save the few who are rich." And then he asserted, "This will not be finished in the first 100 days, nor will it be finished in the first 1,000 days, nor in the life of this administration, nor even perhaps in our lifetime on this planet. But let us begin." As the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. stated, the ultimate tragedy is not the oppression and cruelty by the bad people, but the silence over that by the good people. Business as usual has clearly not worked to eliminate the crisis in our communities. Whatever efforts have been made have been token and ineffectual. I presume the desire to diminish the disparities has at times been and is currently present. However, it is transparent that the endeavor to do so must certainly significantly increase and improve. So consequently, I can reiterate Kennedy's exhortation, "Let us begin." And if some believe that they have already begun, we know that when President Johnson took over in a State of the Union address in 1964, he stated what Kennedy had said, but then he said, instead of just "let us begin," "let us continue." So I exhort you to begin, and if you feel you have begun, please continue and make a significant effort to decrease the disparities and to get us off the list of the 6th worst city for African Americans in this country. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Blackwell. Other speakers for public forum tonight? Seeing no others, then I'll close the public forum and bring us over to staff updates. Mr. Gaines, I understand you have a few updates for us tonight?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Froggy will give a brief update on an award we had for Main Street, and then Ms. Sheets will give us an update on our ribbon cut, or groundbreaking, sorry about that, groundbreaking for the Whitewater project.
Just briefly, the Downtown Streetscape Project received an award from the American Society of Civil Engineers, the ASCE, the Iowa chapter. It was the 2023 Outstanding Civil Engineering Achievement Award, and that ceremony was here approximately a week ago, so we will be putting the award here out in the trophy case once we receive it. So,
All right, thank you. And Director Sheets?
All right, and as we updated the council at the last council meeting, that construction was starting on the Cedar River Recreation Project. As City Administrator Ron Gaines said, the Cedar River Experience Committee and the city have been planning a groundbreaking ceremony. It is planned for tomorrow, Tuesday, the 19th at 4 p.m. over at Gateway Park. We'll hold it over near the shelter, but please note that parking would need to be in the west parking lot since the one closest to the shelter is closed for construction.
Thank you, Director Sheets. Any questions from council on that? Okay. So out of staff updates, then over to special order of business. Item 3 is a public hearing to consider conveyance of certain city-owned real estate adjacent to 6317 Development Drive to Katz Properties LLC. Is there a motion to receive and file approval publication?
so moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Madam Clerk, or all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, seeing none, then that passes. And Madam Clerk, do we have any written communications on file?
I have no written communications on file, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. So staff comments. Shane Graham, our Economic Development Coordinator. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Back on August 7th, City Council approved a purchase agreement or a purchase offer with Katz Properties LLC to sell an 8,000 square foot outlot on a lot adjacent to his business at 6317 Development Drive. Subsequent to that, now what is before council tonight is just the approval for the land conveyance. So again, council in August approved the sale, and now we are asking council to approve the actual conveyance and deeding over the property.
Okay, thank you. Before going to staff or to council, do we have any public comments for the item tonight? Anyone wishing to speak on it? Okay, seeing none, then I'll close the public hearing and take us over to item 3E, which is the resolution approving and authorizing execution of a quitclaim deed conveying title of certain city-owned real estate located adjacent to 6317 Development Drive to Katz Properties LLC. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any council discussion or questions on this? Okay, seeing none, then moved and seconded and requires a roll call vote.
All members voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So that does pass. And that takes us over to old business, which is item 4, passing ordinance 3041, amending Chapter 26 zoning of the Code of Ordinances relative to parking requirements for institutional uses in the downtown character district upon its third and final consideration.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Moved and approved, and it would require 5 aye votes for final adoption. Is any council questions or discussion on this? Any from the public additional? Yes, Mr. Cedar. Name and city for the record, please, sir.
Honorable Mayor Green, members of the council, my name's Roger Cedar, 3719 Wynwood Drive, 50-plus year resident of Cedar Falls, likewise 50-plus year parishioner of St. Patrick's Parish. My message will be short. You have heard and read all the information presented by my colleagues from St. Patrick. If you have any additional questions regarding the issue, There are people here, younger than me, more involved in the presentation of the project to you than I, and would be happy to answer your questions. I'll tell you a little bit about being a resident of this community. Since 1970, it's not only because it was a great community and is a great community and a place to live, but in addition to my profession that has kept me here for 47 years, it has been the city of Cedar Falls because of its greatness and amenities that it has provided for my family that has kept me here in Cedar Falls. During my tenure here in Cedar Falls, this will take you back years, and at my age, I like to use the word decades because it's not as big. I was chair of the Citizens Wired for the Future, and that was the referendum that went to the people of Cedar Falls regarding the addition of a new utility for the Cedar Falls utilities. Subsequently, I served 20-plus years on the Cedar Falls Board of Trustees, and I have come to appreciate the work of planning and zoning. Additionally, I have come to appreciate the work of mayors and city council members in the past who have, like you, made the city what it is. You have, like one council member has mentioned during these processes, said that you look at policies and procedures and codes as living documents and make the necessary change necessary at the time for the benefits of institutions and the citizens of this community. Not sure how many times during my tenure on the Cedar Falls Utility Board of Trustees did previous councils do just that for those reasons. And for those reasons, we have a communications utilities. We have a city that's wired by fiber optics. I don't say that we're the sole reason why we have the successful industrial park, but it's certainly a partial reason. Not only do we have a thriving industrial park, but we have a city that's connected with fiber optics that lets all of us connect with each other and with people around the world. Well, this decision before you tonight involving St. Patrick's Parish and St. Patrick's School, and I hope you approve that code change as you have done in 2 previous meetings, is approve the 3rd reading, is not of the magnitude of the communications utility modifications that the previous councils made, but it is of great importance to the parishioners of St. Patrick's because of the additional parking that it will allow, not only for the parishioners, but also for St. Patrick's School, for parents, for grandparent weekends, grandparent days, for parent-teacher conferences, and for other events that occur both at the school and at the church. The weekend will certainly have, with the additional parking and ease of all of our parishioners, but not only do we use it on the weekends, but the facilities of St. Patrick's are open to the public, and they are used and available to the public as long as there is a need and as long as we have the ability to serve those needs, as the Lions Club have recently, where they've had their pancake breakfast. You know about the popular Lenten Friday night fish fries, so this will accommodate, obviously, more parking for those particular areas. So on behalf of St. Patrick's, we thank you for your thorough review of our petition and your past 2 approval sessions, and ask that you again at this meeting give it a 3rd reading approval. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Keeter. Does anyone else wish to speak from the public on the item? Okay, seeing none, then back to council. Any final comments before a vote?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilor Redott.
Just for my own clarification as we vote, this is not just affecting one entity, correct? This is affecting all institutional and civic organizations in the downtown character district. Am I correct in understanding that?
That is correct.
Thank you.
Yeah, so every project going forward would fall under this. Okay, so.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilor Sires.
I can't say enough good things about St. Pat's Church and also the school, and I'm glad the council sees it straight and can help them with this parking lot. I think it'll be a great benefit to all.
I think Councilor Sires.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilor Schultz.
To Councilman Dunn's point, I would reference people that have access to the letter that St. Pat's put together, I think with the help of Attorney Sevchek, that really talks to what the intent of what the ordinance was and what the utilization of what is going to be great for St. Pat's, representative of everyone that has a similar situation. So it's great for St. Pat's, but to that point, its reference is good for similar as well. So,
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Schultz. Any other comments? I'll take the liberty of the last comment here of just saying it's a difficult topic. It's something that you can certainly see many sides on this of where we want the city to go and particular needs of institutional uses. And I'd just like to, hope it's not out of line, but just to call out for Kelly or Councilmember Dunn, that I appreciate your explanation. So you've had a no vote the past 2 votes, but you've been very clear about why that is, and I commend you for that, and love to see that from the council. If there is a no vote, explaining why and trying to sway others to that reasoning, and then respecting and following the decision that comes out of that. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
And with that, it's been moved and seconded and requires a roll call vote.
Six voting aye, 1 voting nay.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So with those necessary votes, it does pass, and as it's its 3rd reading, it is now ordinance. So congratulations. With that, that will take us over to item 5. Would the St. Pat's folks like to watch the whole thing or the whole meeting? Okay. I have maybe still some scouts outside that'll want to come in as well. So if anyone would like to leave now, we'll stand easy for a moment and switch out seats here. Have a wonderful night. Maybe we lost the scouts. Oh, here they are. Okay, come on in. Working on their citizenship for the community merit badge and communication. All right, thank you. So that brings us to item 5, which is passing ordinance 342, amending Chapter 2 Administration of the Code of Ordinances relative to establishing a bicycle and pedestrian commission upon its 3rd and final consideration. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further council discussion? Any from the public? Yes, Mr. White. Name and city for the record, please.
Good evening. Roger White, 2303 Greenwood here in Cedar Falls. And also a member of the Bicycle Pedestrian Current Advisory Committee, and have been since it was reactivated by Mayor Cruz in 2013. So finishing 10 years on the committee. Thank you for the first 2 readings, affirmative, and I hope that it will be its 3rd affirmative vote tonight for the commission. That was a goal that the committee set about 8 years ago, so it's been a while coming, and all good things that are worth having are worth waiting for. And so we are excited about the change in status, even though we're going to be operating about the same way we always have been. We will continue to present our recommendations and our thoughts and our opinions to the council as we see items in the city that can use a little enhancement maybe for the pedestrians and the cyclists for their safety and for their better use of the community. So thank you, and I appreciate what you've done so far, and we'll look forward to more in the future.
Thank you very much, Mr. White. Any other public comments on the item? And then back to council, or any final notes? Okay. Seeing none, then moved and seconded and requires a roll call vote.
Six voting aye, 1 voting nay.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And so that does pass, and congratulations on being a commission now. So that's, I'll give applause for that. we will do appointments for those commissioners probably at the next council meeting, and just look forward to seeing the wonderful work. BPAC has been a community treasure, helping to set the direction for the trails, and particularly as we have now the Great American Rail Trail passing through our community, it's that much more important that we have our best foot forward for bicyclists and pedestrians in the community. So thank you very much. That takes us to item 6, which is passing ordinance 3043, amending Chapter 23, Traffic and Motor Vehicles of the Code of Ordinances relative to prohibiting parking on certain portions of Dakota Street upon its third and final consideration. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Moved and approved and seconded. Any council questions? Okay, open it for public comment, if there's any. Okay, seeing none. Oh, yes, please, Mr. Hackbar.
Thank you. I just wanted to express my support for this ordinance, and I think it's really going to be helpful to UNI students finding parking spaces for their classes, help them not get ticketed, and just overall make that experience a lot better, more accessible for students. So I definitely support the passage of the ordinance. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Hackbar. Other comments from council? Anything else? Okay, seeing none, then it's been moved and seconded and requires a roll call vote.
6 voting aye, 1 voting nay.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So that does pass as well, and that's its third reading, so that means it is now part of the Code of Ordinances. And that takes us out of our that order of business and into consent calendar, where these items will be acted upon by a voice vote on a single motion without separate discussion, unless someone from the council or public requests that a specific item be considered separately. And of course, we're always happy to do that if you do have questions about an item. So does any council member wish to pull item 7 or 8? Nope. Does any from the public wish to pull 7 or 8? Okay, then is there a motion to approve those items?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that does pass then. And takes us to the resolution calendar, where these items will be acted upon by a roll call vote on a single motion without separate discussion, unless someone from the council or public requests that that item be pulled separately for discussion. And again, very happy to do that. Don't want to shortcut any conversations here. Does any council member request to pull an item from 10 through, what's our last one here, 25? Any from council? No? Any from the public pulling an item from 10 to 25 for separate discussion? Okay, seeing none, then is there a motion to approve those items?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded and requires a roll call vote.
All members voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And that takes us over to bills and claims. Is there a motion to approve for September 18th?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any council discussion on the items? Any from the public on that list? Then it's been moved and seconded and requires a roll call vote. Did we miss it? Councilman Schultz.
All voting aye.
All right, thank you, Madam Clerk. So those, that does pass as well. And before we go to referrals, do we have any council updates and announcements to pass out? Okay, seeing none, then yeah, I know we have some potential for referrals tonight, so who'd like to start us off?
Thank you. I sent out a really brief memo. The College Hill Visioning Plan is getting close to 2.5 years old, and I'd like to have a discussion of that, review its merits, pitfalls, and what we do going forward on that. I'd like to target October 2nd for a committee meeting of the whole.
And I would just say that already is listed under the Community Development Committee. It'd be the same chair. So that's where I would send that to. So October 2nd meeting of committee or of Community Development Committee to discuss the College Hill Vision Plan. Is there a second for that?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Over for discussion from council. And this is just about whether to have this or not.
I have it.
Yes.
I think it's important to talk about, but I also think that might as well wait for the next council to do it, because if we're going to direct staff to have action on anything or redo anything, it's going to be, it could change with the next council. So there's 3 open seats, I believe, and 3 people coming back. And last time, one of the criticisms was that at election time, we talked about and we did the zoning and stuff. And so if we're going to learn from our lessons and actually progress, it should just be the next council that talks about it, however that falls. So I would say it's great and we should get it on the calendar, or actually better yet, goal setting. Because at goal setting, the new seats will be set and the new members will have a say in it. So we might as well I would be open to this and support it if it was, instead of October 2nd, if it was goal setting.
And I would just throw in, as kind of one of the planners for goal setting, that would be a topic. We don't need to vote on that to have that in goal setting instead.
Yeah.
So it would just know that if this doesn't pass tonight, that would be part of goal setting for that the newly elected, the members-elect to discuss along with those continuing.
That's all.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I echo everything that Councilman Harding just said. I intended, if it wasn't brought up at goal setting, to make sure that it was on my list for goal setting. I, again, very much support progress on College Hill, but I'm slightly confused because we've also taken away some funding in our budget for College Hill. So I think it would be best to address at goal setting in November.
Okay.
But I very much back progress on College Hill.
Okay. Anything else before a vote?
The only thing I would ask, and I haven't had an opportunity, Daryl and I haven't connected, what were you thinking you'd get out of that discussion, Daryl? Just in like a sentence.
A sentence. I think with an election coming up and this being such a not old document, but is 2.5 years ago, a lot of perspectives that might have changed, and it'd be a good review for the public to see going into the election. That's what I think. And it doesn't have to be major, and I would fully expect it to take place also at goal setting, but to have a review, merits, pitfalls, I think that'd be a good thing to look at.
Okay, any other comments?
I just think it's biting off a lot. And if we're not going to have anything come about of it, I mean, I don't know. I'd rather wait for goal setting. We've learned our lesson, hopefully.
Councilor Redebeer.
Because it is such a big issue is why I think it should have a separate committee meeting as well, because there's a lot at goal setting, and this is a large plan that involved a large section of town. And I think an extra meeting is going to be beneficial to help some of it be reduced at goal setting.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, that's right.
So the vision was adopted, so it's just up to council as to what we fund and move forward on, and I think that's why I'm all about discussing it. It's just I'm not sure what we're hoping to accomplish. And as far as the plan, it is available online for all to see and review, correct?
And we have had presentations on it that are available for public viewing.
Correct. Yes, I recall that.
Yes, it is online.
Thank you.
So sounds like we've gotten the information out that we would need for this, of whether we're just going to do this meeting on, or as a Community Development Committee meeting on October 2nd. That was the motion on the floor. I'll just take a vote at this time then. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, so let's see a show of hands for aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, and nay. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that will be for staff. Look, the information is already available. I don't think there's new research that's required for it. It's just a presentation on what it is, correct? Is that something that I should have asked that during?
With this type of time frame, we'll reuse a presentation that we've done to council before.
Okay, great. All right, so that will happen for October 2nd. And another referral for
Mr.
Councilor
Mayor.
Sires?
Yes, I would like to make a referral that we have a special meeting for that issue that's on 12th Street, whether we put up a light with a push button or something, but we need to do that as quickly quickly as possible because it truly was unsafe. The cars, there was no one going 25 miles an hour. It looked to me like everybody was speeding. When I first got on the council, I had said to, at that time, Chief Birdie, I said, hey, why don't we...
And I'll just ask, before you go into depth, should a special meeting?
I would like to
And
see
then
one.
what
If we
day?
could, I know we need to wait 48 hours to get our, so if
24 hours.
What's that?
Just 24 hours.
Okay, as soon as we could, whether it be in the morning or afternoon or whenever, that at least 4 or 5 of us could be there. It wouldn't take very long.
Do you need a second for that?
Yeah, we're at the point we can second that.
Then I'll second that.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, now continue on the conversation. And Councilor Sires, did you have something you want to finish up on that?
No, not really. It's just so important because I did almost witness an accident just as I stood there on the corner, and I don't want ever for the kids to not be safe when they're traveling to school. Walking to school, geez, my wife did it for however many years, and these children need to be safe, and that's my main concern. So that's it.
Okay. So just keeping in mind, too, we've got the League of Cities Conference later this week. So from Wednesday on, we'll just have to...
24 hours.
So could we do this
Tuesday night?
Wednesday morning?
Tomorrow night or Wednesday morning, or it's got to be...
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
To that end, I'd like to propose that we have an immediate follow-on meeting with the Public Works Committee because it's an item of exigent circumstance tonight. As long as we announce that meeting in open session in this meeting, it's a legal open meeting, and it doesn't have the 24-hour subject clause. Attorney Rogers not being here tonight leaves me a little bit hanging in the lurch, but I did already discuss this with him, and he was in full agreement. So long as that meeting is on the topic to be discussed, or that was discussed in this open meeting, it is a legal broadcast announcement of that emergency meeting following. So I would move that we have a Public Works Committee meeting with the agenda to discuss the traffic intersection at 12th and Clay this evening, following this immediate adjournment.
Councilor Harding?
I'm not opposed to that, but the only thing I have is I have no data, no information in front of me to make a decision other than
left already.
And the people have, and there were 3 people, and I respect that. I want to have a meeting as soon as possible, but I would rather us have something prepared to look at and data to make a decision off of, because it's not my ward, and while I was on a few emails, I'm not super familiar with that specific intersection. I don't go that way. So I would like to see more information.
Mr. Harding?
Yes.
Yes.
I live a block away, and everything they said is accurate in my view of what I've seen. High rates of speeds, accidents, especially at the at the time of day when school is getting out and when the high school is getting out. Is this a short-term, the perfect storm of 18th Street having construction, Main Street having construction, and others around town? And will it be better next year when 12th and Main is closed and maybe even more construction up through 12th and the school is moved over? Yeah, but I think there is an urgency to this situation without, I know that you're a data-driven guy, and I respect that.
I respect that as
I'd be
well.
open to some short-term, what can we do tomorrow morning? What can we do tonight? So,
I guess that's where I was going. What are our options?
Right. Yes, Councilmember Cruz.
Thank you. I guess my question along the lines of what Gil, you just said, Director Birdie, is there any sort of, I guess for lack of an executive decision, you say, yep, I see it, everybody's going, let's throw out some temporary rumble strips or something? Do you have the power to do that without us having to say, 4 votes and you can do something? Or can you just throw up a temporary stop sign on the wheels, put it in the middle? What can you do?
No, I would say that's a council discussion, and looking at data, hearing from the neighbors, and so.
So, okay.
Mr. Mayor?
Kind of disappoints me a little bit.
The enforceability is the issue there. Unless it's in an ordinance, they can't enforce the stop sign, the tickets for the stop sign. That's.
So every place that you see stop signs wheeled out and set for certain times of the day, that's in the ordinance? Must be?
Without having that right in front of me, I know that we brought a number of those in the way past back through council.
Okay. I was just thinking that if the criteria and observation by police officers is sufficient, you could say, yep, let's throw in a temporary stop sign until we get to discuss it. I don't know. That apparently is not possible, but okay.
Mr. Mayor, I think without interrupting point of order, I think this is all the deliberation that would need to happen in a subcommittee meeting. I did pull up the section in Iowa code. It's 21.3 subsection B that is an exclusion from the 24-hour notice, and it says a meeting of a subunit, which would be the Public Works Committee, immediately following the meeting of the parent governmental body if the meeting of that subunit is publicly announced in open session at the parent meeting. That would be this exact instance. Now, we might not have all the data we need to discuss all of the options, but at least it will get the conversation going. And in the urgent circumstances here, I'd still advise that we take a vote on that. If I didn't already step on the table, on the toes of a motion that was already on the table.
Mm-hmm. So, but it's good information to have of whether we want to have that approach or do a meeting tonight. So, Councilor Versailles, you asked for a meeting as soon as possible. What if it's tonight?
No, that'd be fine. I would like to have a meeting where we can take a vote. You know, if we can't take it at the committee meeting, and I'm for that to discuss it right now tonight, but we also need to set that meeting up for 24 hours so that we can get it done, whatever we decide, and that will give Simon his more time to get whatever data he wants. But that gets us going so that we can discuss a little something tonight and then move forward with an official meeting and then have it done.
So basically get a game plan together tonight?
That's pretty much yes, because we got 24 hours anyway before we can actually do something, but I'm sure that Mr. Gaines, the city manager, will be able to put something up temporarily, whether he puts a cop there for the next couple of days or not, because it truly is a speed zone. It was fast.
Okay. So when do we discuss this?
Councilmember Hart?
I guess that was my point. It wasn't that I need more, I want more data, I want to see information, but what are our options and can we vote on it? And at committee, we can't do any of that. And so my point was, whether we sit here tonight and talk about it for another hour, or we just call a special meeting, the special meeting takes care of everything. It's more efficient. It gives you the data, it gives you all the points, it gives you everything, and you can make a vote on it. So that was kind of my point, to your point, Dave. It's not that I necessarily want to, I just want to see options, data, all that. Anyway, also, and I don't mind if you guys have it without me, just an awareness, I'm going out of town tomorrow and I won't be back till Thursday. But by all means, have the special meeting as quick as possible for safety, because it is paramount.
Okay. So I think that the cleanest way here would be if there was a motion to amend the original or amendment to the original motion to say that we vote on having that Public Works Committee meeting tonight. So that way I know your sense if you want to do that this evening first, and then we can also vote. So that'd be the amendment. We also would say, do we want a meeting, special meeting later this week as well?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to amend the motion so we can have a meeting tonight.
Okay. Any final discussion for having a Public Works Committee meeting directly after this meeting?
A second on that amendment.
Second, okay.
Yeah,
Councilor DeVere?
I just have a question as far as staff. Is there any additional information they would be able to provide for us if we have a meeting yet tonight? Or would that take some time for them to present any information that we would need?
Well, I guess provide a little bit of information, speed limit, street width, stop controlled intersections in the corridor, as far as traffic data, and which is used to establish multi-way stop, four-way stop analysis. Don't have any of that data. And obviously that data is going to be heavily skewed due to Main Street and 18th Street closures. So,
Mr. Mayor, maybe I could give those people a call and have them come back down with their information that you had gotten for them.
I have a city and a name.
Sounds good. I can do it.
Come on down.
That's true. That's true.
all I can really do at this point.
No, I can. I'll give them a call. I've got their name and number.
All right.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
And then I just wondered if we could.
If it passes first, don't call them to have them come down if we're not going to pass the thing. But after, I'll give you time to do that. If it does pass to meet tonight.
It will.
Yes, come on.
I just want to say one more thing. We can talk about it again tonight, but
the vote.
We can't vote on anything. We can't make anything happen.
Why not?
because it's a committee meeting and it would have to go through council to be voted on. We can't magically put an ordinance in place at a committee meeting. So unless I'm missing something, we need to have an actual council meeting to make something happen.
Right.
So only recommendations, of which nothing can come about except for another special meeting in 24 hours. So I guess my question is, I don't want to seem like I'm opposed to the meeting, but it seems superfluous to the point that we're just going to sit here and talk about it, but we can't actually do anything.
Yeah. Plus, it wasn't on the agenda.
Right.
So I guess, can someone clarify why it's so important to have a public works meeting after this and then have another special meeting, when I would just say, let's just jump to the special meeting, see a presentation, make something happen?
Can you be here in 24 hours?
I'm going to be gone, but you can have more than 4 people.
Okay.
So that's all you need for a quorum.
No, I just wondered.
Just get it done. Right.
Just make it happen.
Councilor Cruz, did you have a?
I guess if this is appropriate now, or because we have a second on having it tonight, just some techniques that we could talk about, temporary techniques, rapid flashing beacon, stop sign rolled out. I mean, what would you recommend, either Director Chase or?
Point of order.
Yeah, and I'll follow on that. If there are things that don't require a council action, if there are traffic remediations, is that something we could discuss tonight? Like, would you be able to present, okay, short term, here's what we could do without a formal vote from the council?
I would just say, really, that's really for engineering, the enforcement piece of it. We'll enforce whatever's put out there. One thing I would just mention is there's concerns a little farther down on 12th Street, closer to the high school. There's concerns on 12th Street west of Hudson. So, if we're going to have a meeting and talk about it, maybe it should be more than that intersection. Just a suggestion, because.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Mayor, I'll just jump in here and maybe from my seat, one of the advantages of potentially having the meeting tonight would be that this council could then direct staff to come back in a couple of days with an ordinance, for instance, that would be outlined. And at that particular meeting, if the council feels that it's a dangerous situation that needs immediate attention, they can direct staff to go ahead and take that action as well.
So in the implement for the ordinance, we could bypass the 3 readings and approve it on one?
You would still have to do that, but just as safety precautions, directing staff to make those. So.
Okay. So if I remember right, what's the motion? The amendment on the floor is to have that meeting tonight for Public Works Committee. Anything final to discuss for that? Yes,
Sorry. I would just say we could just make a referral for a special meeting that brings forward options and ordinances ready to go. So if we decide that we want to have it happen, we just make it happen that night.
But what if staff doesn't have direction on what that ordinance should look like?
Well, it's going to be that's fair.
4 different ordinances potentially?
That's fair. That's fine. I guess.
Yeah, the interest of the meeting tonight is to be able to streamline that request so that we can make it happen. So the meeting tonight will be strictly conversational for us to figure out if we can get our stuff aligned, then we can give them some good direction and then take action on it at a future special meeting.
Okay, which would happen pretty darn quick. Yeah, all right.
Okay.
So that's the motion or the amendment that we're looking at right now, which just is a voice vote. So it's for having a meeting directly after this meeting to discuss.
Would it be after executive session or would it be before executive session?
After.
Yeah, it'd have to be, we'd have to close this meeting first and then bring up the next meeting. So it'd be after executive session.
Okay.
Yeah. So, because it's its own committee. So we have to adjourn this to start a committee. That makes sense.
It does make sense. It just gets a
It's not
little,
ideal, but-
it's not ideal because then people are going to be gone.
Yeah.
We get time to come back, though.
That's
Councilor
true.
Harris can call them.
Boy Scouts, you're expected to stay.
The Boy Scouts already left to go to the library to look up superfluous.
It's a good word.
All right, with that, we're at the amendment to have the meeting tonight. All in favor of attaching that amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, so that does pass. Brings us back to the original motion as amended. So this would be, I've got it in my scribbles, but to have a meeting as soon as possible to determine changes, potential necessary changes, with the addition of a meeting tonight to help build that. Am I capturing the essence okay? Yeah.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
To clarify, if this didn't pass for some reason, we're back to, you already said that you were going to have this brought to committee at the next meeting, is that
October 2nd.
correct? Okay.
In committee. So it's just delaying, that would delay it a bit. So with that, it's been moved and seconded to have a meeting as soon as possible. We'll have to figure out when council's available, probably looking at, not likely tomorrow evening, but maybe Wednesday morning, Wednesday afternoon. So this council can get information together for that 24-hour wait. So with that, I think referrals are voice vote, right? Yeah, so all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, so that will happen. We'll do that meeting for Public Works Committee. So congratulations, Councilmember Schultz. You got some work to do tonight as chair. So that'll be after our executive session. And then I think at that meeting, that's when we can determine when the actual meeting will be held. And we'll publicize that for that special meeting. It's more than likely going to be during the workday, just to be aware. So we handled that all, didn't we?
We did.
Okay, great. So that's done. Any other referrals tonight? Seeing none, then the next item is item 27, which is an executive session to discuss legal matters per Iowa Code Section 21.5.1C to discuss strategy with counsel in matters that are presently in litigation or where litigation is imminent, where its disclosure would be likely to prejudice or disadvantage the position of the governmental body in that litigation.
So moved.
It's a motion to move to executive session.
Second.
Moved and seconded. And this requires a roll call vote.
All voting aye.
So that does pass, and that means we will move to executive session. We'll be back in the council chambers. This is the first time we've ever done it, but we'll be back for a
Public Works.
Public Works Committee meeting for exigent circumstances. We can't call it a special meeting. But we'll be back for that. And so this is one of those few times you might want to stay and catch the next part. I have no idea how long this will take, but hopefully not long.
Simon was joking, scouts.
We are adjourned to executive session.
You can go, guys.